The Panthers are dressed up for prime time. They're wearing their cool helmets for the Thursday game against the Falcons, a game that likely will have the fewest viewers ever for an NFL game in the modern era. That game on Amazon Prime, which has already gotten terrible ratings, and now you've got Carolina and Atlanta. Wow. Al Michaels is like, what have I done? Man, oh man. Anyway, the Panthers are morbid. They're wicked bad. 2-7 their record. Second worst in the entire NFL. Only the Texans are worse off. And so at this moment, the Panthers would have the number 2 pick in the draft. Whoop-de-damn-do. However, they're not good, but they are interesting. They are producing content. The life and times of Baker Mayfield. Rise, number 1 pick. Fall in Cleveland, and the way the story was supposed to go, going back to Charlotte and to a new team, rise again. Except Baker Mayfield is doing the limbo. How low can you go? How low can you go? And not good. Not good. The interim head coach in Carolina, Steve Wilks, announcing this week that despite being ready to go, ready to start again, Baker Mayfield will continue as a demoted second-string reject, a backup quarterback. The Panthers are going to ride and likely die with XFL refugee P.J. Walker. Now, P.J. Walker has mixed in a couple of pretty good performances with some El Stinko performances. Last week, Carolina fell behind 35-0 to the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Dick and Dayton was all excited about that. One of our callers who calls normally the last hour of the show. He's a big Ohio guy. Loves all the Ohio teams. But P.J. Walker, in the first half of that particular game, was so bad. How bad was he? He was 3 of 10 passing for 9 yards. Averaged less than 1 yards per pass attempt and had 2 interceptions. And that's how you end up falling behind 35-0. And Baker Mayfield came in garbage time and actually did a decent job, but the game was well in hand, and the Panthers have decided they want to go back to P.J. Walker. And that led to a passionate Baker Mayfield defense from a former NFL head coach, now toiling as the offensive coordinator in Carolina, Ben McAdoo, or as we called him when he coached the Giants, Ben McAdoo, because that's the product that he put out on the field. And the Panthers are serving up doo-doo as well. Now, if you didn't hear what Ben McAdoo had to say, and possibly not, here's the quote from Ben McAdoo. He said, Baker has not failed. He said, Baker got injured. The offensive coordinator, quote continues, I think Baker's a tremendous leader for us. This was stated, we don't think it was satire, it was stated at a press conference. He went on to say that he, meaning Mayfield, had moments of playing well before the injury. He had a rough game, the game getting injured, but that doesn't mean it's a failure. We still have a lot of football left to play, close quote. All right, so let us discuss. Well, it's true. The Panthers have played 9 games, so you do the math on that. They have 8 games to go the way the schedule is made this year. So let us discuss the question, has Baker Mayfield failed with the Panthers? Because Ben McAdoo says he has not failed. Has he failed? So the arrow is all the way in the failed direction. It's all the way over here in the failed direction. I've got commandeered, ringside physician, and lollipop salesman. And we'll connect all of these things together, and we are going to make some grits. Some Carolina grits is what we're going to make. All right, first of all, Baker Mayfield has not only failed. It's one thing to say you're a failure. He has gone scorched earth. He wants nothing left. Right? Carolina did not trade for a leader. They traded for a quarterback. They didn't want a leader. They wanted a quarterback. And they traded for a guy, Mayfield, who has been painstakingly dreadful. And I have no dog in the fight, or no panther in the fight, from alpha to omega, practicing strategic incompetence, football malpractice on a weekly basis. Now, what is my evidence here? My evidence is the eyeballs, my glasses, my bifocals, and the numbers. Baker Mayfield commandeered the honey wagon. If you don't know what a honey wagon is, look it up. It's a poop truck. All right. Before missing time with an injury, Mayfield, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, completing about 55% of his passes for barely 6 yards per pass. 7 is average. 7 is average. He was below average. A passer rating of below 75, closer to 70. And sacked 15 times, fumbling 6 times. So he had his moments, in air quotes, of playing well, surrounded by a steaming pile of you-know-what. Page 2. Why is Ben McAdoo publicly defending Baker Mayfield? He's doing it because that's what you're supposed to do, and McAdoo is your garden variety standard coaching hack. All right, he's selling banana oil is what he's selling. He will lie to your face and not even bat an eyelid. So let's take the premise from Ben McAdoo, who said that Baker was a tremendous leader. He didn't fail. He got injured. That was the quote. He didn't fail. He got injured. All right, so that's fine. You like boxing at all? I watch boxing from time to time. Big fight, I'll check it out. Now, fights all the time are stopped because a boxer is deemed by the referee, or more likely the ringside physician, to be unable to defend himself properly because of an injury. Those fights are called technical knockouts, and they count as losses. So imagine, if you will, getting bloodied in a fight. Say you cut your eyebrow, or you get a broken nose, you fractured jaw. Those are standard boxing injuries. And then claiming, I didn't lose. I had a little cut above my eye. They couldn't close the cut from gushing blood. Injuries, just like in boxing, are part of football. Seasons end all the time. Seasons change because of injury. Star quarterback gets hurt. Sometimes it works out as a positive, like in Philadelphia when Nick Foles came in, made a deal with the devil, and led the Eagles to the Super Bowl. Oftentimes, it doesn't. It's bye-bye, but you end up battered, bruised, and completely beaten in the sport of football, just like in boxing. And rather than tough love, rather than Ben McAdoo being honest and saying, boy, this guy's he sucks. We really thought Baker Mayfield could turn it around, and this guy needs a flea bath. He's terrible. But instead, McAdoo is coddling Baker Mayfield, pampering his failed quarterback, bailing him out. It's like a government bailout for his performance. It's not his fault, right? You got to have a fall guy. Blame the injuries, right? Of course, Baker Mayfield was trash before he got hurt. Don't bring that up. It's not good. Right? It doesn't support the argument. Look, Carolina gave him a sink or swim opportunity. They said, all right, you're either going to make it or you're not. You're either going to sink or you're going to swim. And he fell to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. He is swimming with the fishes, is what he's doing. Final thought. So what does the long-term forecast look like for Baker Mayfield in the NFL, knowing what a debacle this is? And I'm not saying that Baker's not going to play again for Carolina, but the court is already in. The jury's already in the court. They've already made their ruling on this year. It's a lost year. And even if Baker Mayfield came in week 13 or 14 and played well for a couple of games, it doesn't change the narrative. It doesn't change it at all. So looking at the Doppler 2000 weather forecast, the weather radar here, it looks gloomy, mostly cloudy, with a chance of storms, and it's going to be very chilly. Baker Mayfield, if you look into the crystal ball, like a lollipop salesman, Mayfield will be living out of a suitcase selling lollipops, and he'll have to kill him with kindness, right? Oh, I'm a changed man. I'm going to be different now. It just wasn't my fault. It was that jabroni who was coaching the team, Mr. Rule. It was his fault. That's why they fired his ass. So he's going to be on the move from number 1 pick to the Tenderloin district of the NFL, if you will. Training camp arm, reclamation project. Needs to go to a team with Florence Nightingale syndrome. I could see Baker Mayfield going to Buffalo and backing up Josh Allen. I could see that being a scenario. Or Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, if he's still around with the Packers, somewhere like that. But he's damaged goods. He will be looking for a resurrection. You got to take a couple of steps back to take which you hope is several steps forward, a career renaissance. He's got to be a renaissance man, which is easier said than done, because for every player that is in that situation that needs a revival, there are 300 that fail for every one that makes it. And that's just the way it is.